Okay, so now if we were to run these lines of code, what we'll see is the menu, or first of all, the title of the program, and then what we'll see is this menu option here. So let's just run a little preview. Okay, so as you can see, we have the title of the function, the menu options, and the prompts, and this is where we'll enter in the value that is needed. But at the moment, if you enter in anything in it, nothing will be run because there is no function. So off this is where we'll be implementing a function. But if you do enter anything, it will just terminate to X. Especially if you enter X, it will return 0 because that is what we coded in the program. But whether or not you enter anything, it will just evaluate to X because there's nothing to run. Alright, so that's as you can see. So now what we'll do is we'll go down to after the while. So now what we'll do is probably another system clear would be a good idea. Well, it's probably not necessary, but just for safety, a second one to ensure that it actually does clear the screen because we're coming out of the program and we want to make sure that it still clear the screen. Alright, so now let's just give that some space there. Tab. Okay, and now we'll see out the name of the function once more, because after we have entered in a value to run the program, to run that actual function, what we'll need now is not the menu options anymore, but we'll still want to see that the function name. We'll still want to see function manipulations as in the what was the screenshot that was shown. As you can see here, well, let me try to bring this over a little. As you can see there, the name, the function name is there in this event add one screenshot, and as you can see, it's in the second one, the common divisor, and as you can see, it's also in the guess my number game. So therefore, we would like to have the function name, but not the menu options anymore. So now let's get back to that. All right, so we'll have some tags as we had before. Well, we probably could just copy all that line of code. It'll just jump back to the same place. So what we'll do, we'll copy all this and we'll enter it here. Enter it there, right? Okay, so now to just go a little faster, and now we'll make, I'm guessing it's an appropriate time to make the first function, which will be a void function, because we'll need to call that function the next time we'll need to call that function for the next run of the menu. So we'll have a function called menu choice. We'll say menu choice. That's a good name. And we will not be passing any parameters to that or any arguments to that function. What we'll be doing is actually putting back this all of this line of code into the function. Well, actually, I think we'll need everything because we'll be running this code once more. So we'll need all of that code. We'll need all of that code except for the while, the while statement. We do not need the while statement. And what I think is a good idea to do is actually make another function which would terminate the program. So let's make a function. Let's call it a program. Let's say program termination. Okay, so we'll have that function. So we'll call that function to terminate the program of, yeah, so we'll call that to terminate the program. So let's make that function now. So I think that would be a in function. Well, definitely it's an in function because we'll be returning 0. So termination. And the only thing that this function will be doing is returning 0. So that's all that function will be doing. So when this is run, will then this function is called. If the x is entered, then the program will terminate. So we have 2 terminations. Therefore, there's no way that the program will not terminate. No. So we'll now need to call that function. So therefore, we'll need to call. We'll probably need, or we'll need to call that function in the main. The first thing we probably should do, I think I'm messing up here. So what we probably should do first is make the functions, and then we think about calling all those functions. The first thing we need to do, let's leave the function, that function's last. For the first, so we would have already created the menu choice function, or the menu choices function. Let's say choices because it's more than one. So we would have created the menu choices function, and as you can see, this is all that it will do. And I don't think we need to clear our first screen here. Okay, just making some little checks. Alright, so now the next function that we'll need is the menu options, because we'll need to call the menu options here for whenever we enter in the values. Whatever value we enter here, we'll need to call that function here. So therefore, let's make the function and then we call it. So this would be a void function, and this is the first function that the assignment tells us that we need to have. So this is the first one that the assignment actually tells us that we need to have. So first, what we'll do is we'll make the function the menu options. That's what we'll call a function, and we won't pass any arguments to this function. So this function will consist of the switch statement as the instructor would have written in the assignment instruction. So what we'll pass to the switch statement is the menu response. So now what we'll have is a case. So this case would be a capital E, and we'll pass 2 cases actually to it. So we'll have a common E because not everybody is going to, well, it's not, let's say it's not user friendly. It's not really that user friendly to to not have a common letter and a capital letter, because not everybody is probably going to remember to put a uppercase letter or a lowercase letter. So when this is implemented, what we'll be doing is we'll be calling a function. So the first function that we'll be calling is add number, which we have not created as yet, but we'll create it later on. So let's just put the many options here so that I do not forget. Let's just put it there. So we'll call it, so that function will be called there, and we'll need another case. So the next case will be the secondly, we need to break the statement. Obviously we need to break, because if the program run, if we include the if we enter E, then we should not go to the next case. We should just break. So therefore we'll terminate, not we'll exit out of the loop via the break statement. So now we'll have our next case, which will be the D, and this states that well, that should run the common divisor. So let's have a capital D also, and this will run, let's call the function GCD, okay, to not have that long verbose thing, and we'll break again, and we'll have another case. The other case should be G, and this, let's another G, common G, so that should be single quotations, common G, and let's give that a space, looks better there, and this will call the guess my number game. So that's what we'll call that function, guess my number game. Nice. That's a nice name. That's a nice game also. Alright, so we'll also break that right there, and we have the final case, which is the X, which will terminate the code. So this here is a good example why we needed to make that, why we need to make that termination program, because if the return 0 cannot be in this program, because it's a void function, so there cannot be a return type there, and there is no return type because it says void. So let's break this, and let's have a default, which will say, the default will just, okay, let's say we'll see out, let's say we'll see out you entered an unacceptable value. Let's say that, yeah, some quotation might just show that we are serious, that you have and end this line serious, okay. Okay, so that's about it for that program. So for this function, so this is the function that we'll call here when this function is executed up here. Where is that again? We'll need to call that functions up here. Yeah, so if y is selected, I think we need to, yeah, that's what we need to do. I almost forgot that. So if y is selected, nope, not if y is